Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Rhythm Shift and I'm back with another toy review. Today's review I'm taking a look at the GhostBusters Hasbro Fright Features Winston Zeddemore figure. So this is the second figure that I've picked up from this Hasbro line. I picked up Egon and Winston at the same time. I've opened Egon and reviewed him, so now I'm going to review Winston. Now first of all, I like to say I'm a little bit annoyed with this figure because it seems that Hasbro has some variants in this Fright Features wave. There's a variant of Peter Venkman and there's a variant of Winston Zeddemore. Now the difference isn't in the figure is exactly the same. The difference is in the packing ghost it comes with. Now there's a version of Winston that actually comes with a Slimer, which I would have liked to have got, because his Fright Feature actually looks pretty cool. His head splits apart, but this is the same Fright Feature ghost that came with Egon Spengler, but just in a different colour. Now with Slimer being such an important character, I don't know why they've made him the variant, which is a bit annoying. Likewise with Peter Venkman, there's a Pterodog version, a mini Pterodog, but at the end of the day, the Pterodog is not as essential as Slimer. I feel that Slimer should have been, you know, one of the figures that's easier to get. Now, I could have waited and seen if I could have tracked down the variant, but this was only $9.99, so I thought, you know what, man, fuck it. I want a Winston most importantly, so I'll just get this figure. If I do see the variant for a good price, I might pick it up at a later date, but for now, I'll be content with this. So Winston looks pretty good in package here. You've got his Proton Pack, the packing ghost, and the figure himself, and nice little portrait of Ernie Hudson there. Forgive me, the light's not the best here. I hope it's coming up. It says Winston Zeddemore, 1984 classic. Damn right it's classic. Can't beat the originals. So little bio on the back, it says GhostBusters Winston Zeddemore. Always dependable, Winston Zeddemore never backs down from a ghostly challenge. Yeah, damn right, man. Winston's a cool character. Certainly one of my favourites. I mean, everybody loves all the Ghostbusters, but Winston and Venkman I think are my two favourite. But I love them all. So yeah, here he is in the package. Decent. Gonna get him out of the box. Okay, so out of the box, as you can see, Winston comes here with two accessories. First, you've got his packing ghost, and you've also got his Proton Pack, which currently is holstered on his back. Now, what I usually want to do to begin with is start with the tail of the tape. So how tall is this figure? As you can see, it stands roughly about the 5.5 inch, well, 5.5 inch scale. And that's perfect because this is exactly what I want for my collection, because that means he fits and scales in perfectly with my Kenner Real Ghostbusters figures. Likewise, the ghost that he comes with, this little chubby guy here, stands 2 inches tall, which is the same height, roughly the same height as the vintage Kenner Real Ghostbusters ghosts. So you've got the is that the Chomper ghost? And Winston came with the old school Winston came with a Chomper ghost, I think that's what it's called. And as you can see, that also stands at 2 inches tall. So where's Winston himself? There we go. If we bring Winston Zeddemore from the original line, this is my original Winston from the 1980s, not the reissue version that Hasbro just put out. If I assemble them, you can see that they are in the same scale. This old school Winston stands also just under 5.5 inches. It's just above the about 5.25 inches. So that's beautiful, because that means that I can have these Fright Features Hasbro Busters interacting with my Kenner Real Ghostbusters. You know, you can create a bit of a shared universe here where, I don't know, maybe they have some cross-dimensional rift where the real Ghostbusters come into contact with the movie Ghostbusters from the 1980s. That's kind of the storyline I'm concocting in my own mind for my little play patterns, and I think that's really cool. Now, what you can do with this Winston is, as you'll see, the Proton Pack is removable, which is great, which is a win, because I did collect the Matty Collector Ghostbuster figures, and you know, those original figures, you could not remove the packs, which is a major downside to those figures from Matty Collector, because it really ruined their playability. I mean, you need to be able to take the packs of the Busters to put them in you know, dangerous situations. I mean, in the Ghostbusters cartoon, it was frequently that, you know, their proton packs would be taken by some demonic entity, and they'd have to, you know, work out how to get them back, and then when they get them back, they can bust the ghost. So yeah, so it's good that you could take this off. He's got his neutrino one, but it looks very disappointing. As I said in my Egon Spengler review, it looks like a gardening watering hose. Like he's just like watering the flowers. It's very boring. Now I think that could have been remedied if Hasbro had included a proton stream to actually make it look like something's coming out of the neutrino wand. But even then, this whole pose is wrong. You know, them standing there holding this in one hand, it doesn't look dynamic. Now on the real Ghostbusters figures, it did look dynamic because, let me just demonstrate this here, take off his pack. Here's Winston's Proton Pack, which I'm about to do a customization on. What I'm going to be doing is cutting this in half. And essentially, if all goes well, I will be, because this is Egon Spengler's one. Egon's one is broken, as you can see, which is a common fault because these are very fragile. So this has a hard time connecting to Egon's backpack when it's in holstered mode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half, one half in this and one half in that. I'm going to take the good half of this and combine it with the good back of this, put them together, recast them, remold them, and I should have new neutrino ones which will work for my busters, and I'll be able to remove the streams hopefully if my customization goes well, so I can put the streams in and out as and when I need them. Now with Winston here, if I was to put the Kenner 1980s neutrino one in his hand, actually let me do it with Egon because I don't want to ruin this one in case it breaks. See if his hand would fit through the hole, which it really doesn't. I have to force it. I'll just hold it like that. If it was to be on his arm like this, it would look so much more dynamic, like the old school figures did. But as I demonstrated in the Egon video I just did, if you was to put this in Winston's hand without breaking it, if he was to hold it like that, the way the arms are sculpted on this figure, it makes it actually look like they're actually firing the neutrino one. You see, you can do that kind of thing. I'm doing it very gently here, because I don't want to break it. But if I was to put it fully in his hand, it would actually look like he's really busting now. Now, that's the customization I plan to do. Maybe I'll do a video on that once it's done, if it goes well. But what I'd also like to talk about is the face sculpt, because the face sculpt is really, really good in these figures. I mean, it's very cartoony, very animated type of look, but it does look like Winston from the first movie. Likewise, Egon here does look a lot like Egon from the movie, Harold Ramis. So the face sculpts, although they're stylized, very, very, very cool and really, really awesome. So in terms of articulation, these Ghostbusters seem to share the same body. Egon, Ray, Peter and Winston all have the same body. Only differences are obviously Winston's skin tone. On his name label it says Zeddemore. Yeah, it says Zeddemore. They all got their name logo there. So you can rotate the head left and right. It's 5 points of articulation. Arms up and down. Legs forward. And that's it. But that's the same that we got with the real Ghostbusters figures, like, you know, 5 POA. You know, turn the head left to right, arms up and down, legs forward and back. So it's the same. So as I said in my other review of Egon, much like the Masters of the Universe Origins, these Ghostbusters are actually very nice throwbacks to the old school figures, which have, you know, great play value to this day, at least for me. The Proton Pack that he comes with is a little bit rubbery, so it doesn't feel as solid in the touch as the old school RGB Real Ghostbusters Proton Pack. But you know, it connects with a little hemisphere shape there, so you can't interchange these between the old figures and the new figures because it's a different peg. But again, I'm planning to do a customization where I take this peg and I fix it to a RGB pack, and I'll be able to put this pack on this Winston and have the ultimate version of the character as I would like for my collection. So that would be really cool. Let's talk a bit about the ghost. He comes with this fat little ghost here, which as I said in my Egon review, is a bit disappointing because there's a variation of these figures. One variation you get a Slimer in there, and you press the button and his head separates, which is one of the cooler fright features. Unfortunately, I couldn't find that in the shop. All I could find is this one, which is a reproduced version of the packing ghost that came with Egon. And what you do is you press this little button on his back, which is difficult to do because you need to hold it without holding the chest. If you press it, because there's not enough space to actually hold the figure and press the button. Forgive me, I just dropped it, get off the floor. So if I press the button now, because it's a very hard press, it's difficult to get. That is a bit of a pain in the ass. There you go. Pops open, and that's supposed to be scary. That's not scary, that's just lame. You know, so the ghost's a bit disappointing in that respect. But the good thing is that, as I demonstrated with Egon, they do fit in the Kenner Real Ghostbusters trap and containment unit. So that's an advantage, that's a win. Now what I'm going to do is I'll do a video, once I get all full busters, I'll do a video showing how they interact with the Kenner vehicles such as the Ecto 1, Ecto 2 and also the Firehouse. So you can have a look and see how they fit, because that was really, for me, the selling point on these. I wanted them to go in with my old school figures and fit in and help further build up that world, my 5.5 inch scale world of figures. Now I've been kind of spoiled over the years with 7-inch figures, where you get the, you know, super articulated, highly detailed sculpting and stuff. And I'll bring a figure in here, which is the Diamond Select version of Winston. These are the only Ghostbusters figures I have. Well, actually, I've got the old school Kenner ones. The fight features a couple of them. But I sold my Matty Collector Hasbro figures some time ago because I really wasn't very happy with them. Although I did have the NECA Pterodogs, and now I do kind of regret selling those because I thought I was pretty much done with modern Ghostbuster figures. So I sold those NECA Pterodogs, but I'm not too bummed about it because they were nice. I had them in my collection for like nearly 10 years or so, and they were nice figures, but I think I'll get the Plasma Series version, and that will fill the hole that I left by selling my NECA, Gozer and Slimer and Pterodogs. So if I put Winston here's old school Winston here's Proton Pack back in his back and position him here, you can hopefully get a good idea of the 3 versions of Winston. You know, these are the versions that I want. I will be getting the Hasbro Plasma Series 1, because as I said, I want to get that Pterodog back, and I can get the Hasbro BAF version of it. I also want another Gozer figure, and I think that Hasbro's done the best version of Gozer that I've seen so far. So I will be getting the Hasbro Plasma Series Wave 1. Oops, just knocked him over. The Hasbro Plasma Series Wave 1 I will hopefully be getting. Because, yeah, that Gozer is just, I think that's the best Gozer I've seen so far, because I had the NECA version, and the trouble with the NECA versions from the early 2000s were that they were a lot more like statues than toys, especially Gozer. I mean, she could only move, you could only rotate her head and move her arms up and down, so she was very limited. But the new Hasbro Plasma Series version is, you know, modern articulation, because, you know, you want to get her into squat poses and, you know, looking agile like she did and nimble like she did in the first movie. Is this dude broken? No, he's not broken, he's just a bit floppy. But there you go. So that should give you a good look at 3 versions of Winston. And I'm happy to have all 3 versions of this character in my collection, because I think this is a really nice representation of the real Ghostbusters version. This is a nice vintage version to play with. Nice vintage movie inspired one to play with. Well, nice modern vintage inspired movie version to play with. And I'll get the Plasma Series to stand in for my movie accurate articulated version of Winston. So very happy with these so far. Gonna be reviewing Ray, and I've also got Peter Venkman on the way. Should be arriving within the next few days hopefully, but these figures are a great price too. I mean, I only paid $9.99 for this one, so very well priced figures that fit with your old school toys. So yeah, this is a very, very cool cool idea by Hasbro. You know, I really do like what they're doing. They've re-released some of the old vehicles from the they've re-released the Ecto 1, and they re-released the original figures again. And they re-released some ghosts, so I will be getting the Bug-Eye Ghost at some point, because I thought that was a cool monster, one of the cooler ones from the 80s. I've still got my Slimer and my Stay Puft, but yeah, I'm really happy with these figures so far, because it's really getting me back into Ghostbusters again. You know, it's like sometimes that you flirt in and out with your love for the line. With me, I've always enjoyed Ghostbusters, always, but it's not like something like Masters of the Universe, where I've never fallen out of love with Masters of the Universe, or even Transformers, for example. You know, I collect a lot of the MPs, and you know, you never really fall out of love with that. With Ghostbusters, you know, it has its ups and its downs, especially the toy line, because in the 1980s they really lost me when they started doing them stupid, wacky action figures on the Ghostbusters and giving them these weird ass costumes which they never used in the cartoon, and they just didn't look like Ghostbusters anymore. They just looked like really weird figures with those stupid distorted heads and, you know, fright features. I never liked that. So that's where they kind of lost me as a child in the 80s. That's why I stopped collecting the Ghostbusters, which was around about, what, just after Wave 3? Just after they released the Gooper Ghosts, and, you know, the ghosts became more boring, basing them on, you know, human characters like Ex-Cop and Postman or whatever. You know, the postman, the football player, the grandma figure, they look boring shit toys to me. I didn't want those. So yeah, that's the review. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll be back with more reviews soon, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care for now.